Welcome to Bangla City SATV News. This is Shubala Alam with our headlines. Court sentenced Arman to 10 and Kabir to 7 years in prison on Hosseini Dalan past case. 6 are acquitted. High Court directs to supply rice, oil, onion and flour in ration system, urges to start activities following OMS policy. Heavy explosions were heard in and around Kiev. International Court of Justice will issue rule against the Russian aggression tomorrow. A tribunal in Dhaka sentenced 2 members of the JMB, Mohammad Arman and Kabir Hussain, to 10 years and 7 years in jail respectively in a case over the bomb blast at Hosseini Dalan during the preparation for Tajia procession ahead of the Holy Ashura in 2015. Judge of the Anti-Terrorism Special Tribunal of Dhaka announced the verdict this noon. The tribunal also fined them Dhaka 10,000 each. The court, however, acquitted 6 others as the prosecution failed to prove the charges against them. On October 24th of 2015, 2 people were killed and 115 were injured in the bomb explosions at the Shia Muslim community headquarters. The High Court has directed to supply rice, oil, onion and flour ration across the country under OMS policy. The High Court passed the order today after hearing a writ petition filed on the formulation of the policy on pricing of essential commodities including oil. A 2-judge bench comprising Justice Farah Mahboob and Justice SM Munir Zaman passed the order today. On March 8, 3 lawyers filed a writ petition in the High Court seeking directions to control the price of soybean oil. At the same time, the writ petition challenged the government's inaction in controlling the rise in soybean prices. The government has picked 10 individuals and 1 institution for Shadhinota Padak 2022 for their outstanding contributions to the country. 6 recipients are Ilyas Ahmed Chaudhary, Colonel Khandokar Nazmul Huda, Abdul Jalil, Shiraj Uddin Ahmed, Muhammad Shohiuddin Bishash, Shirajul Haq have been named for their contributions to the Independence Liberation War in 1971. On the other side, Professor Dr. Konok Kanti Borua and Professor Dr. Muhammad Kamrul Islam will receive the award for contribution in medicine sector, Muhammad Amir Hamza for literature, Mainul Hussain for architecture. Bangladesh Wheat and Maize Research Institute will receive the award in the research and training category. Hadithur Rahman, the naval engineer killed in a missile attack on the Bangladeshi ship Bangla Samriddhi in Ukraine on March 2nd, was buried next to his grandparents' grave in Borguna today morning. He was buried at the family graveyard at his village home in Hosnabad. Around 5,000 people attended his namaz janaza. Earlier on Monday noon, his body reached his village home in a freezer ambulance. We are taking a short break. Stay with Bangla City SATV News. Welcome back. You're watching Bangla City SATV News. Now let's take a look at what's going on in the world. Heavy explosions were heard in and around the capital Kiev on Monday, with the shelling of residential building that killed at least 1 and injured several more. Also on the same day, a convoy of 160 cars was allowed to escape the besieged port city Mariupol, home to the worst humanitarian crisis of the conflict. It is the first time a humanitarian corridor was used to let civilians flee the city amid horrifying conditions. So far, more than 600 fatalities have been confirmed in the last 3 weeks, and almost 3 million refugees have fled for neighboring countries since the start of the invasion. Meanwhile, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said that the prospect of a nuclear conflict is within the realm of possibility as Russia continues its unprovoked invasion of Ukraine. Meanwhile, during an intense 7-hour meeting, Washington has expressed deep concern over Beijing's alignment with Russia. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan met with China's top diplomat Yang Jiechi on Monday to discuss a range of challenges, including Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine. At their meeting in Rome, Sullivan warned the top Chinese officials that any support for Russia, even helping it avert global sanctions, would be costly. Shortly after the talks ended, the U.S. State Department said that the National Security Advisor and the delegation were direct about those concerns. There comes after reports were made that Russia requested military and financial assistance from China to support its ongoing war in Ukraine. The UK Supreme Court on Monday denied WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange's appeal against moves to extradite him to the US, where they could face life in prison. The UK Supreme Court stated that Julian's application was refused because it did not raise an arguable point of the law. Dalia Nilufer has the story.
A British district court judge had initially rejected extradition to the US on the grounds that Julian Assange was likely to kill himself if sent to US prison and held under harsh conditions. The UK's High Court later overturned the lower court decision, saying the US had guaranteed that Assange would be treated humanely. The case is now expected to be formally sent to the UK's Home Secretary for approval, after which Assange can't attempt to challenge the decision by judicial review. However, the US wants to put the 50-year-old Julian on trial in connection to the publication of 500,000 secret military files he leaked related to the US-led wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Dalia Nilufer, SATV News Desk.
Germany is set to purchase dozens of F-35 fighter jets built by Lockheed Martin to replace its aging Tornado aircraft. According to the German Defense Ministry, Berlin is aiming to buy up to 35 of the stealth jets. Currently, the Tornado is the only German jet capable of carrying US nuclear bombs stored in Germany. However, with the jet being in use since the 1980s, Berlin is planning to phase it out between 2025 and 2030. It also said that the decision could upset France, as the deal could undermine the development of a joint Franco-German fighter jet that's supposed to be ready after 2040. The United States said on Monday it had no indication that India's missile launch into Pakistan last week was anything other than an accident. U.S. State Department spokesperson Ned Price said that the remarks while responding to a question about the incident. He also advised the journalists to reach out the Indian Defense Ministry for a follow-up. On the flip side, India is conducting a review of its standing operating procedures for operations, maintenance and inspection of weapon system after accidentally launching a missile into Pakistan last week, its defense minister said on Tuesday. Separately, the United States and China urged India and Pakistan on Monday to hold direct talks for reducing tensions between two nuclear-armed nations. The Karnataka High Court in India today ruled out that wearing hijab is not an essential practice in Islam and upheld the state government's ban on hijab in classrooms. A bench of the High Court said that they are of the considered opinion that wearing of hijab by Muslim women does not form a part of essential religious practice in Islamic faith. The verdict dismisses petition filed by Muslim girls seeking permission to wear hijab in classrooms, upholding the Karnataka government's ban on wearing hijab in classrooms. The High Court said the prescription of school uniform is a reasonable restriction. Jeff Bezos' astrotourism company Blue Origin is scheduled to take to the skies next week and aboard as an honorary guest with the Saturday Night Live star Pete Davidson. The 28-year-old comedian will be joined by 5 paying customers taking part in the 4th flight to space of the fledgling space tourism industry. The 10-minute flight will lift off from Texas on March 23rd. Known as the king of the Staten Island, Davidson is the latest celebrity to take a trip to the edge of the space, following Star Trek star William Shatner. Rock band the Rolling Stones will embark on a European tour for the summer, playing stadiums and arenas to mark their 60th anniversary, as the band said the British Rockies on Monday. Called 60, the 14-show tour will kick off in Madrid on June 1st and travel to 10 countries in total, including Britain. The band will perform at Anfield Stadium in Liverpool, their first show in the British city for more than 50 years, as well as 2 concerts at London's Hyde Park. Now sports news. Australia have won their 4th consecutive ODI World Cup. Aussie girls beat West Indies women team by 7 wickets. West Indies won the toss and elected to bat, losing 2 wickets for 4 runs. However, captain Stephanie Taylor returned the team to the match, keeping one side at bay. She made 30 with Doughton at the 3rd wicket and 36 with Campbell on the 4th. After the Caribbean women's inning came to a halt with 131 runs in the possession of the middle order batsmen, 50 runs came from Taylor's bat. Alice Perry and Ashley Gardner took 3 wickets each for Australia. Australia lost only 3 wickets and picked up an easy victory with 118 balls in hand. Before ending, we go to the Euro-Bangla City SATV News headlines again. Court sentenced Arman to 10 and Kabir to 7 years in prison on Hussaini Dalan blast case, 6 are acquitted. High Court directs to supply rice, oil, onion and flour in ration system, urges to start activities following OMS policy. Heavy explosions were heard in and around Kiev. International Court of Justice will issue rule against the Russian aggression tomorrow. We are up to date so far here on Euro-Bangla City SATV News, and to know the latest news, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with SATV.